The champagne glass shattered at Ava Collins's feet. Nobody in the ballroom moved. Victoria Sloane stood in front of the young maid with a smile meant for the 100 wealthy guests watching them. "If you're so fascinated by expensive things," Victoria said, "perhaps you should learn what they cost before touching them." Ava's cheeks burned. "I didn't touch the auction item. You were standing beside it. I recognized it." Victoria's smile vanished. "From where?" Ava looked toward the stage. Lot number 18 sat beneath a spotlight, a worn black acoustic guitar inside a glass case. "My father owned it." A few guests laughed. Victoria did too. "Your father?" She looked around dramatically. "Apparently our maid believes a $60,000 collector's guitar belonged to her family." Ava lowered her eyes. She had learned long ago that arguing with rich people in public usually made humiliation last longer. So she knelt and began collecting the broken glass. Then a man's voice cut through the room. "Stop." Damien Kane crossed the ballroom. Conversation died instantly. Everyone knew who he was. To the public, Damien was a real estate investor and the host of tonight's children's charity auction. To people who understood the city after midnight, he was something else entirely. Victoria's fiancé. And the man nobody interrupted. Damien stopped in front of Ava. She was still kneeling. He extended his hand. "Take my hand." Ava looked up. "Sir, I can clean." "I didn't ask you to clean." His hand remained there. "Stand up." Before we continue, subscribe and tell us where you're watching from, because the reason that old guitar meant so much to Ava was about to turn Damien's perfect engagement night into something neither of them expected. Ava hesitated, then placed her hand in his. Damien helped her stand. Victoria's face tightened. "Damien," she embarrassed herself. "No." He looked at the broken glass. Someone embarrassed her. Victoria stared at him. "You're doing this in front of everyone. You started it in front of everyone." That silenced her. Damien removed a clean handkerchief from his pocket and handed it to Ava. "What did you mean when you said the guitar belonged to your father?" Victoria interrupted. "This is absurd." Damien didn't look at her. "Ava." She swallowed. "My father was Daniel Collins. He played that guitar for 23 years. Damien glanced toward the stage. The auction catalogue described it as the Sloane Family Collection, private ownership since 1998. Victoria's family. Ava continued quietly. "My father carved a small crescent moon beneath the neck after I was born. He said nobody could see it unless they knew where to look." Victoria stepped closer. "That proves nothing." "I didn't say it did." "You're accusing my family of stealing." Ava met her eyes. "I said it belonged to my father." Damien noticed the difference. Victoria was arguing against an accusation Ava had never made. He walked toward the stage. "Open the case." The auction director hesitated. Victoria grabbed Damien's arm. "You're stopping a charity auction because a maid told you a story." He looked down at her hand. She released him. "Open it." The lock clicked. Damien lifted the guitar carefully. Ava remained several feet away. "Where?" She pointed beneath the neck joint. Damien turned it toward the light. There it was. A tiny crescent moon carved into the wood. Beneath it were two initials. DC. The room became silent again. Victoria went pale. Damien looked at the auction catalogue. Then at his fiancée. "Your family claims they've owned this since 1998. "They have." Ava shook her head. "That's impossible." Victoria snapped toward her. Ava continued. "My father still had it when I was 10. Damien asked, "What year?" 2006. 8 years after the Sloane family supposedly acquired it. Victoria immediately said, "Then her father must have stolen it from us." Ava looked as though she had been slapped. "My father wasn't a thief." Victoria smiled coldly. "You were a child. What would you know?" Damien's voice dropped. "Enough." He handed the guitar back to the auction director. Lot 18 is withdrawn. Victoria stared at him. You cannot do that. It's my auction. You'll humiliate my family. Damien looked directly at her. Interesting choice of words. Ava understood exactly what he meant. Victoria had been perfectly comfortable humiliating a maid. Now humiliation suddenly mattered. Damien turned to Ava. Did your father ever tell you how he lost the guitar? Her expression changed. He didn't lose it. What happened? Ava hesitated. My father disappeared when I was 11. Damien stopped. Disappeared. Police said he probably left voluntarily. Did you believe them? No. Ava looked at the guitar. Because the night before he disappeared, he came into my room and told me something strange. Damien waited. Ava's voice lowered. He said if anyone ever brought that guitar back into my life, I should run. Victoria's face lost all color. Damien saw it. And this time, so did Ava. He slowly turned toward his fiancée. Why does that scare you? Victoria backed away. It doesn't. Then Damien noticed something inside the guitar case. A folded auction receipt had slipped beneath the velvet lining. He picked it up. The guitar had not come from Victoria's family collection. It had been delivered 3 days earlier by a private seller. Damien read the seller's name. His expression changed completely. Ava whispered, "Who is it?" Damien looked at her. "Your father." The receipt had been signed only 72 hours earlier. Daniel Collins. The man Ava had believed was gone for 16 years was alive. Ava stared at the receipt in Damien's hand. That signature isn't possible. It says Daniel Collins. My father has been missing 16 years. Victoria reached for the receipt. Damien folded it first. You've seen enough. Her expression sharpened. It came from my family's auction collection. I have every right. You told everyone your family had owned the guitar since 1998. Victoria stopped. Damien continued. Now I'm holding paperwork saying someone delivered it 3 days ago. Ava looked at the auction director. Who brought it here? The man hesitated. A courier. Did you see the seller? No. Then the signature could be fake, Ava said. Damien nodded. Or someone wanted us to believe your father is alive. That possibility frightened her even more. The ballroom was cleared within 20 minutes. Damien ordered Lot 18 moved to his private office. Victoria protested until he finally turned to her. Go home. Her eyes widened. You're dismissing me. I'm asking you to leave before you say something else you can't explain. Ava quietly removed Damien's jacket from her shoulders. I should go too. He looked at her. Do you want to? She glanced toward the guitar. No. Then stay. Victoria saw the answer before Ava spoke. For the first time that evening, her anger looked less like class arrogance and more like fear. 2 hours later, Damien and Ava sat across from the guitar inside his office. Damien's security advisor, Nico, had traced the courier. The package came from a storage company near Harbor District. Sender. Cash account. Fake name. Ava ran one finger near the carved crescent moon. My father taught me 3 chords on this. Damien watched her. What was he like? She smiled despite herself. Terrible cook. Terrible liar. Great musician. Why would police think he abandoned you? His bank account was emptied the morning he disappeared. By him. That's what they assumed. And you. Ava shook her head. He left his medicine, his passport, and me. Damien leaned back. Men planning to disappear usually remember passports. Ava looked at him. You believe me. I believe details. That answer stayed with her. Nico opened the guitar case again. There's something strange about the lining. Beneath the velvet was a rectangular indentation. Something had once been hidden there. Whatever it was, someone had removed it before the auction. Ava remembered her father's warning. If the guitar ever comes back, run. Damien's voice lowered. Maybe he wasn't warning you about the guitar. She looked at him. He was warning you about what somebody would expect to find inside it. Nico checked the receipt again. Boss, there's a number beneath the seller signature. The 9th of December, 47. Not a phone number. Ava recognized it. My father used numbers like that when he wrote music. Damien frowned. Music. Page, measure, note. She opened the old songbook stored in the case. Page 47. Measure 12. The 9th note was marked with a tiny handwritten letter. B. Ava flipped through the next marked pages. More letters. Together they spelled Bellano. Damien's expression changed. Ava noticed. You know that name. Bellano Children's Foundation. That's tonight's charity. Yes. And? Damien hesitated. My fiancé's family has controlled it for 20 years. Ava went still. The auction had supposedly raised millions for children's shelters. Damien had agreed to host because Victoria insisted the foundation was her family's proudest legacy. Nico pulled up archived foundation records. Daniel Collins's name appeared once. 16 years earlier. Not as a donor. As an employee. Daniel Collins, events accounting assistant. Ava stared. He told me he played music at night. He apparently did more than that. Nico continued searching. 3 days before Daniel vanished, Bellano Foundation had cancelled an internal audit. The accountant assigned to assist that audit was Daniel Collins. Damien looked toward the guitar. Your father found something. And then disappeared. Ava's voice broke slightly. Damien did not touch her. He simply moved the box of tissues closer. That small restraint surprised her. Nico's phone buzzed. Boss, Harbor Storage just replied. The fake sender had rented a unit there for 17 years. Paid every January. Never visited. Until 3 nights ago. Camera footage. Nico turned the screen. A man entered the facility wearing a baseball cap. Older. Thin. Grey hair. Ava stopped breathing. The man turned toward the camera for less than a second. She knew that face. Dad. Damien looked at her. There was no doubt now. Daniel Collins was alive. And 3 nights earlier, he had personally removed the guitar from storage. Then Nico opened another frame. Daniel was not alone. A woman entered behind him. Victoria. Ava stood so quickly her chair hit the floor. Damien's face went completely cold. The footage showed Victoria handing Daniel an envelope. Then Daniel pointed directly into the security camera. As if he knew someone would eventually watch. He raised one hand. 3 fingers. Then 2. Then 1. Ava whispered. That's not counting. Damien looked at her. What is it? Her father had used the same hand signal whenever they played music together. 3. 2. 1. It meant only one thing. Listen carefully. And on the footage, Daniel's lips formed 4 silent words directly at the camera. Ava read them perfectly. Don't trust Victoria. Ava watched the security footage again. Daniel's lips formed the same 4 words. Don't trust Victoria. Damien closed the laptop. We find him before she does. Ava looked at him. My father disappeared 16 years ago. If he wanted me to find him, why not call? Maybe calling you was the one thing he was afraid to do. That answer hurt because it made sense. Nico traced Daniel's movements after harbor storage. A taxi had taken him to an abandoned rehearsal building near the river. Ava stood. I'm going. So am I. This is my father. Damien met her eyes. Exactly. He didn't order her to stay behind. He simply picked up his coat. 40 minutes later, Ava entered the dark rehearsal hall with Damien beside her. An old piano sat beneath a dusty stage light. Then someone played 3 notes. Ava stopped breathing. It was the tune Daniel used to play when she couldn't sleep. Dad. A man stepped from behind the curtain. Grey hair. Older face. Same eyes. Ava didn't run to him. She couldn't. 16 years of unanswered birthdays stood between them. Daniel whispered, "Ava." Her voice broke. "You were alive." "Yes. You let me think you were dead. I let you think I abandoned you. That's supposed to be better." "No." Daniel lowered his eyes. "It was the only lie that kept you safe." Damien stayed several feet away. He understood this moment did not belong to him. Ava wiped her face angrily. "Safe from who?" Daniel looked toward Damien. "Victoria's father." He explained everything. 16 years earlier, Daniel had worked nights helping Beleno Foundation catalog donated auction pieces. He discovered something strange. Several valuable items donated for children's programs never reached the public auction. They were replaced with copies. The originals were sold privately. The charity received a fraction of their value. Victoria's father pocketed the rest. Daniel confronted him. The next morning, Daniel's bank account was emptied and the stolen money was made to look like it had gone through his name. "They were going to call me the thief," Daniel said. "Why didn't you go to police?" Ava asked. "Because they showed me photographs of you walking home from school." Her anger disappeared. Daniel continued. "They gave me a choice. Disappear, or they make you disappear first." Ava looked away. "You could have told me when I became an adult." "I tried twice." "What stopped you?" "Victoria." Damien's expression changed. Daniel looked directly at him. "She took over her father's operation after he died." Ava whispered, "The auction fraud. It never stopped." The guitar was proof. Daniel had kept it because its original donation tag and internal serial number showed it had entered Beleno Foundation 16 years earlier. Yet Victoria's catalogue claimed her family privately owned it since 1998. One guitar could expose hundreds of false provenance records. Damien finally understood. "That's why she met you at the storage unit." Daniel nodded. "She offered me money to sign a statement saying I stole the guitar years ago." "The envelope." "Cash and a confession they wanted me to sign." Ava's voice hardened. "And you took it?" "I took the envelope." Daniel reached inside his coat. "But I signed nothing." He handed Damien the money. Every bill had been photographed beforehand. Every serial number recorded. Daniel had wanted evidence of the payoff. Damien looked at Ava. "Your father wasn't selling them the guitar." Daniel shook his head. "I put it into their own auction so they would be forced to explain where it came from." Ava almost laughed through her tears. "That is the most Daniel Collins thing I've ever heard." For the first time, her father smiled. Then Damien asked the question that mattered. "Why humiliate Ava publicly?" Daniel's smile disappeared. "Because Victoria recognized her." Ava frowned. "She'd seen photographs of you. She knew exactly who you were before tonight." Ava went cold. Her employment at Damien's estate had not been random. Victoria had personally approved the household staffing list 4 months earlier. Damien remembered. "She hired you." Daniel nodded. "She wanted to know whether I had contacted Ava." Ava stared at him. "So she kept me close to watch me. And tonight, when you recognized the guitar, she panicked." Damien's expression became dangerous. Then Daniel said quietly, "There's more." He walked to the piano and opened the bench. Inside lay the auction catalogue from tonight. 3 lots were circled. Lot 18, the guitar. Lot 24, a diamond brooch. Lot 31, a 19th century pocket watch. Daniel pointed at the final 2. Those were stolen donations too. Damien looked at him. "From whom?" Daniel tapped the brooch. "Your mother." Damien froze. "My mother never donated that." "I know." Daniel pointed to the pocket watch. "And this belonged to your father." Damien's face changed completely. Both items had vanished from the Kane family home the night his parents were killed 20 years earlier. Ava whispered, "How did Victoria's family get them?" Daniel looked toward Damien. "That's what I've been trying to prove." Then headlights swept across the rehearsal hall windows. 3 black cars stopped outside. Daniel went pale. She found us. Damien stepped in front of Ava without thinking. But Daniel shook his head. No. He looked through the window. That isn't Victoria. A man stepped from the first car. Damien recognized him immediately. His father's former lieutenant, the man everyone believed had died the same night as Damien's parents. Daniel whispered. He's the one who gave Victoria's family the stolen auction pieces. And Damien finally realized the charity fraud was connected to the oldest unanswered question of his life. Damien stared through the rehearsal hall window. The man stepping from the black car was Vincent Hale. 20 years ago, Vincent had been Damien's father's most trusted lieutenant. He had supposedly died the same night Damien's parents were killed. Damien moved toward the door. Ava caught his sleeve. Wait. My entire childhood was built around that man being dead. And that's exactly why you shouldn't meet him angry. Damien looked at her. Daniel quietly said, "She's right." That surprised Damien enough to stop him. Vincent entered alone. No weapon in his hands. No smile. You grew up looking like your father. Damien's voice was ice. You don't get to talk about him. Vincent accepted that. Then he placed an old leather ledger on the piano. I came because Daniel finally forced Bolano's charity records into public view. Ava looked at her father. Daniel nodded. He's the person who helped me disappear. Damien turned sharply. You knew he was alive. For 16 years. Then start explaining. Vincent opened the ledger. The night Damien's parents died, the Kane estate had been attacked during what everyone believed was a territorial dispute. But Vincent showed him shipment records from that week. There had been no rival attack planned. Damien's father had discovered that Bolano Foundation was being used to quietly sell property stolen from wealthy families during violent disputes. Jewelry, art, family heirlooms. Anything impossible to sell openly could be given a false charity history and reintroduced years later as a legitimate collectible. Daniel's guitar had accidentally exposed the system. Damien pointed at the brooch pictured in tonight's catalogue. My mother's. Vincent nodded. And your father's watch. How did Bolano get them? Vincent looked ashamed. I delivered them. Damien crossed the room so fast Ava barely saw him move. He grabbed Vincent by the coat. Daniel stepped forward. Damien. You stole from my dead parents. Vincent didn't resist. I removed those items before the attack. Why? Your father ordered me to. That stopped him. Vincent explained. Damien's father knew someone inside his organization was feeding Bolano information. He gave Vincent 3 family items secretly marked with identification numbers and told him to place them into Bolano's pipeline. Bait. If those objects resurfaced, he would know exactly who was involved. But he died before they came back, Vincent said. Damien released him. So you ran? No. Vincent looked at him. I stayed long enough to learn the attack came from people your father trusted. Then someone put a price on you too. Ava's expression changed. Damien was a child. Exactly. Vincent faked his death and secretly moved Damien between protected family homes until the danger passed. Damien stared at him. You were the reason I survived. I was one reason. Then why disappear for 20 years? Because the person who ordered your parents killed believed I took the proof with me. Damien looked toward Victoria's photograph in the auction catalogue. Her father. Vincent shook his head. No. For the first time that night, Damien looked genuinely uncertain. Then who? Vincent opened the ledger to the final page. One signature appeared repeatedly beside Bolano payments. Damien recognized it. Nico Santoro. His security advisor. The man currently controlling every entrance to Damien's estate. Ava whispered, Nico. Vincent nodded. His father began the arrangement. Nico inherited it. Damien immediately reached for his phone. No signal. Vincent looked toward the cars outside. He already knows we're here. The rehearsal hall lights died. Ava heard the doors lock. Then the building speakers crackled. Nico's voice filled the darkness. "Boss, I really hoped you'd leave lot 18 on the auction stage." Damien pulled Ava behind the piano. "Nico! You were supposed to marry Victoria, enjoy your charity photographs, and never ask why her family suddenly had your mother's jewelry." Victoria's voice came through the speakers next. "You told me Daniel would disappear again." Ava froze. Victoria was with him. Nico laughed. "You should have pushed his daughter harder." Damien's jaw tightened. Ava whispered, "So Victoria knew about the fraud, but Nico controlled it." Daniel nodded. "And now they're turning on each other." That was their advantage. Damien called toward the speakers. "Victoria, ask Nico who killed Adrian Belleno." Silence. Nico answered first. "That has nothing to do with tonight." Victoria's voice sharpened. "Who is Adrian?" Damien looked at Vincent. Vincent understood. Victoria's older brother. Daniel went pale. He knew the name. Adrian Belleno had discovered the laundering operation 7 years earlier. The family publicly claimed he died in a boating accident. Vincent whispered. "He didn't." Damien raised his voice. "Nico killed your brother because Adrian wanted out." The speakers went silent. Then Victoria screamed. "You told me my father arranged that accident." A gunshot sounded somewhere above them. Ava flinched. Damien looked toward the ceiling. Whatever alliance had brought Victoria and Nico here had just ended. Emergency lights flashed on. At the far side of the rehearsal hall, Victoria stumbled through an upstairs doorway, clutching her bleeding arm. Behind her came Nico. He held a pistol. In his other hand was a metal case. Daniel stared at it. The Belleno Master Archive. Every false auction record. Every stolen item. Every payment. Everything that could expose 2 decades of crimes. Nico looked directly at Damien. "Choose." He pushed Victoria toward the balcony railing. Then held the archive case over the open furnace chute used by the old theater. "Save your fiancée." His smile widened. "Or save the proof." Damien took 1 step forward. But Ava was already looking at Victoria. For all the humiliation she had suffered at that woman's hands, Ava understood something Nico didn't. There were 4 people in that room. Damien did not have to make the choice alone. Ava looked at Victoria hanging against the balcony rail. Then at Nico holding the metal archive case above the furnace chute. "Damien," she whispered, "get Victoria." His eyes snapped toward her. "And the evidence?" "I have an idea." Nico laughed. "The maid has an idea." Ava ignored him. Daniel had spent years hiding evidence inside ordinary objects because criminals searched for safes, not memories. And Nico had made the same mistake. He believed the metal case was the evidence. Ava looked at her father. "The guitar." Daniel understood instantly. Damien didn't. But he trusted her. He moved toward Victoria. Nico raised his pistol. 1 more step. Vincent knocked over the old stage light stand. The crash made Nico turn. Damien moved. He caught Victoria before she slipped over the railing and pulled her behind the balcony wall. At the same moment, Nico threw the archive case into the furnace chute. Metal struck flame below. He smiled. 20 years gone. Daniel shook his head. "No." Nico's smile faded. Daniel pointed toward Ava. The case held copies. Ava pulled the black guitar closer. "My father never trusted one hiding place." Inside the hollow body, beneath a removable soundboard panel, were microfilm strips containing every original auction serial number Daniel had copied 16 years earlier. Vincent held a second set of payment records. And Damien's phone had been recording Nico's confession from the moment the speakers came alive. For the first time, Nico looked afraid. "You think recordings will save you?" "No," Damien said. "The truth will." Nico fired. The shot went wide as Victoria grabbed his wrist from behind. He spun on her. "You ungrateful." She slapped him. "My brother trusted you." Nico shoved her away. Damien reached him before he could aim again. The struggle ended quickly. Not dramatically. Not heroically. Nico simply found himself on the floor with Vincent holding his weapon and Damien standing over him. Damien could have settled it the old way. Everyone in that room knew it. Instead, he stepped back. "Call the police." Nico stared at him. "You're handing me over. I'm ending the part of this family that thinks murder is an accounting method." Police and federal investigators arrived before sunrise. The Beleno records opened investigations into years of stolen charitable property, false auction histories, financial laundering, and the deaths connected to Nico's network. Victoria cooperated. It did not erase what she had done. She had knowingly continued her father's auction fraud, watched Ava for months, and publicly humiliated her when the guitar threatened to expose everything. Damien ended their engagement that morning. Victoria did not beg. She only looked at Ava before leaving. "I hated you because you walked into that ballroom with nothing and still weren't ashamed of who you were." Ava answered quietly. "You could have stopped pretending too." Victoria had no reply. Weeks later, the charity auction reopened. But this time there was no champagne spectacle. Every questionable Beleno item had been removed and traced to its real owner or family. Damien's mother's brooch returned to him. His father's pocket watch returned with it. He placed neither in a safe. He gave them to a city museum with the entire truth attached. No cleaned-up family history. No respectable lie. Daniel Collins finally came home too. Ava did not forgive 16 lost years in one conversation. Some days she wanted answers. Other days she wanted distance. Daniel accepted both. He had returned to her life. He understood that did not automatically mean he had earned his place in it. 3 months later, Ava entered the restored auction hall. She no longer worked as a maid. Not because Damien promoted her. She had left the estate and started helping Daniel authenticate disputed charity collections. Damien found her beside Lot 18. The black guitar was no longer for sale. A small plaque beneath it read, "Daniel Collins Guitar, the object that exposed the Beleno fraud." Ava smiled. "Bit dramatic. I know someone who enjoys dramatic auctions." She looked at him. "Your fiancé." "Former fiancé. Important distinction." Damien smiled. Music started across the ballroom. He held out his hand. Ava looked at it. The first time he had done that, she had been kneeling among broken glass while an entire room watched her humiliation. Now nobody was looking. "No audience this time?" she asked. "I learned something." "What?" "Some gestures matter more when you're not performing them." His hand remained extended. "Take my hand." Ava placed hers in his. "Only for one dance." One dance. He had enough sense not to negotiate. And this time, when Ava walked onto the ballroom floor beside the most feared man in the room, she wasn't being rescued. She was choosing to be there. If this story kept you watching, subscribe, and tell us in the comments, would you have trusted Damien after everything Ava discovered?